By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 Tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 Tour.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Catch us if you can at Southland Casino Hotel and win your share of up to $1.8 million in free play and prizes. Join us for drawings every Saturday in May, June, and July. Each month, over 900 winners will take home free play or drive off in a new car or motorcycle. Be there for all 6 grand finale drawings and try to catch us if you can, only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700. I need cameras to capture every waking moment between Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on the same team. The pregame prayers will be generational.
Because that's preacher and a deacon. That's what we're talking about here. That prayer's going to be 40 minutes. We're going to miss the anthem.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish, speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum. We're in downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle is right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't spend yesterday thinking that the Cavaliers would extend their series, that the Nuggets would win in Oklahoma City, or that Jason Tatum would get good news from doctors, because none of that stuff happened. Interesting day in the NBA. Another nice night on tap. We'll talk about it all momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes, Chris Vernon is going to join me. He's the host of the Chris Vernon Show, weekdays noon, Grind City Media. I will talk all things NBA with Chris Vernon. He'll be in studio in the next segment. Finish talking to him, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Yahoo Sports' Ross Dellinger had some interesting news about how the NCAA's NIL clearinghouse is going to work going forward. I can smell the lawsuits already. I'll tell you what Ross reported. We'll do that in about 40 minutes. John Calipari is reportedly in discussions to schedule an exhibition game against Memphis to benefit St. Jude. That would be fun. That'd be nice. I'll give you the details on that in just a bit. There will be a Friday night NFL game in week 1 of the regular season, and it's going to make history. I'll tell you why a little later on in the show. MLB legend Pete Rose is now Hall of Fame eligible less than a year after his death. Some baseball people are big mad about this. I'll tell you why in the second hour, and it's the end of an era this weekend here in Memphis. The Malco Drive-In. It's going dark.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Bennett shed some tears.
I got some thoughts.
We're going to do that during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carryout and call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with the NBA because yesterday was an important day in the NBA, and today should be as well. Let's start with yesterday and the biggest news. Quick confirmation from the Celtics, as expected. Jason Tatum did rupture his Achilles tendon. Surgery already completed. They didn't waste no time. He's obviously done for the season, possibly done for all of next season. And that Boston franchise might really never be the same. And that doesn't mean might really never be good again or great again.
Right, it's the Celtics.
It just means that they might quite literally never be the same as they appeared to be 2 days ago. It is crazy how quickly everything can change.
Yep.
Both in life and in sports. But for these purposes, let's just focus on sports. Monday morning, literally 2 mornings ago, I turn on ESPN because I think that's a fun thing to turn on in the mornings as like the kids are getting up from school around 6:15 or so, 6:30. Get them up, turn it on because they're not staying up watching these basketball games late at night. I can barely do it. But, you know, they get up and as they're putting on socks and shoes and, you know, eating a bagel or whatever, you got the highlights and you got Jay Williams and Udonis Haslem and Mike Greenberg like breaking down what happened in last night's NBA playoff games. And I find it just to be a nice thing to have on the television. They'll at least have some understanding of what happened in the NBA the night before. So we have it on most mornings in the house as they're getting ready for school, trying to get out the door. And so I'm sitting there on Monday morning, 2 mornings ago, and Jay Williams is calling the series, but calling it for Boston. He said the Knicks looked tired. They were exposed in Game 3. This is the byproduct of Tom Thibodeau relying too heavily on his starters, and it's finally caught up to them. To Jay's credit, he said, hey, listen, if I'm wrong, I'll come back and eat crow on television. No big deal. But I'm telling you, I'm watching a series, and this thing is over. Keep in mind, Boston was down 2-1.
Yep.
Still didn't have home court advantage. Was heading into a Game 4 at Madison Square Garden. But Jay Williams was like, I know what I'm watching. Boston's about to win this series. They're going to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. And what we now know is that they would be in a 7-game series against the Pacers. What you now know is that they would be favored in that series. And I realize that if they were to get to the NBA Finals and match up against Oklahoma City, that the Thunder would be the favorite in the betting markets. But there would be a whole lot of people picking Boston over Oklahoma City, in part because of things like championship DNA. They've already done it.
Yep.
And then it's over. Now, in fairness, Boston was probably going to lose that Game 4.
Yes.
Regardless of whether Jason Tatum went down. But there would still be people talking about whether they're going to knock out Game 5 at home. And then if they go back and just play to their abilities in Game 6, they could still win in the Garden. They just beat them in the Garden over the weekend. And then you'd have a Game 7 back at home. You'd be favored in that one. Even if they were down 3-1 right now with Jason Tatum, there would still be people telling you Boston's got a chance. And if they can get out of this, they're going to be favored in the Eastern Conference Finals. And if they can get out of that, I'm going to pick them to win the championship. And then it's over. Ruptured Achilles. You go from being a franchise people were, as recently as 2 days ago, still picking to win what would have been a back-to-back championship. And then, boom, that's over. Nobody thinks you're getting out of this series now.
Right.
And next season, who knows what that's going to look like? You know Jason Tatum's not going to be ready to start the season, might not be ready to end the season. Their payroll with tax bills and everything else is like $500 million. They've got a new ownership situation. There's no great indication that they're comfortable spending this kind of money. There was some real thought that there was going to be a shakeup in Boston no matter what.
Yeah.
But now if you're that ownership group, you willing to pay that kind of tax bill when you know Jason Tatum's not going to be available? Like you without him, you're not really a championship contender. It's one thing to pay a tax bill if you think you got a chance to, put another banner up. But when that seems unlikely, given what just happened a couple of nights ago, it just brings everything into question. Things that you weren't even discussing at all in any sort of serious tone a couple of days ago, everything's now on the table because of just some random freak out of nowhere injury to one of the most reliable stars in the NBA. Like, this guy doesn't miss games. He doesn't miss extended time. He doesn't have a history of injury stuff in any sort of meaningful way. and then he just moved the wrong way, and it popped. And now there's enough evidence to suggest he'll be able to recover and bounce back from this. But will he ever be the same? It's a reasonable question to ask. Will the Celtics ever be the same? Reasonable thing to wonder about. And it's just, again, I can't get past how quickly it all happens. It just flips on them. 2 mornings ago, people I respect on television were convinced Boston was done with New York, headed for what we now know would have been a 7-game series with the Pacers, favored in that, and would have been picked by a lot of people to win the NBA Finals 2 mornings ago. And now nobody will say that. Your franchise player is done for a while, and it's unclear what next season's even going to look like for you. This thing that could have been a dynasty is now totally up in the air.
Yeah, the interesting thing about it is, and I actually saw Brian Windhorst say that he's not ready to count him out just yet, which, who knows?
They still got Jaylen Brown,
they still have the
Derek
Finals
White,
MVP.
Drew
That's
Holiday.
right.
They still got Porzingis. They still got good players.
They still got good players. Like the Knicks actually have to win this series.
The problem for them is that I don't have any. I get Wendy's point, and he's right. Like, could the Celtics still line up and beat the Knicks? Yeah. You got to beat them 3 times in a row.
You got to beat them 3 times. That's right. But they don't want it to get it. I wouldn't want to get to a game 7 though. If I'm the Knicks, you better knock it out in one of these.
When
next.
you get to a game 7, even without Jason Tatum, they're probably favored over you.
Yeah, I would think so too. In the Garden, yeah, I would think so too. In
Well, I
TD
mean,
Garden,
they're favored over them tonight.
Yeah.
Celtics are 4.5-point favorites over the Knicks tonight without Jason Tatum.
Now
So-
Jaylen Brown's got to have a good game. He hasn't had a good series, so that's part of it.
Yeah, but like to your point, we can all feel like the Celtics aren't going to get out of this series without Jason Tatum, and that is the way I feel. But if they can play 3 more games, they will be favored in 2 of them.
Yeah, you're right. You know, the weird thing about it when you talk about their future and you know everything seems up in the air now. What should they do? Man, it is really starting to look like that the East is going to be terrible next year. Like if Giannis goes west, if KD stays in the West.
Jason Tatum is not going to be available for much of the season, if not all of the season. Damian Lillard, similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis could get moved out of the East.
You never know with the Sixers. Like, what are they going to be?
What are they going to be?
Yeah.
And that's exactly the type of franchise that could bring somebody from the West to the East by luring that 3rd pick in a package of whatever.
Yeah. The Knicks this is their team. This is the Knicks, so this is what they're going to be going forward. I think maybe Orlando will get better. The Pistons will probably improve. Obviously, the Pacers are having a great playoffs, but what's the East even going to look like next year? And Cleveland will be back, but what's the East even going to really look like next year? Can you, without Jason Tatum, if you're the Celtics, can you talk yourself into maybe we can compete next year in this conference? Maybe we can get back to a finals without him if he's not available.
Maybe, but you go from we are definitely contenders for years to come,
right,
to where are we going?
Right.
We are on the verge of maybe winning back-to-back championships, to our franchise players done for this season and maybe next season too. It's just tough. It's a tough set of circumstances. But to your point, if you're going to try to survive a season without your best player, next season in the East might be a good time to do it.
Yes.
And on the
I'm jealous.
On the other hand, if you are a Tyrese Halliburton or a Jalen Brunson, or moving forward, a Donovan Mitchell, you got to look at this as a real opportunity coming up. Like there is a window here where you might not be dealing with the Celtics in any sort of meaningful way. You might have Giannis either on a bad team or on a different team,
right,
in a different conference. Theoretically, it opens up for you. For Halliburton and Brunson, like that time might be now. For Mitchell, it'll have to wait, given what happened last night. But for Halliburton and Brunson, like any NBA player will tell you this. You get to these points in your career and you're like, okay, we're here. We'll be back here. You don't ever know if you'll be back here.
Right.
Halliburton and Brunson, assuming the Knicks close this out, are both going to be in the best position they've ever been in, by definition, to get to the NBA Finals. And maybe the best position they'll ever be in their lives.
Yes.
You don't know. You don't know. So you got to take advantage of this. And, the the Pacers were able to do it last night. Let's move on to the games.
Okay.
Fun night. Cleveland announces Donovan Mitchell is going to be available after having an MRI the day prior. They're not 100%, but they're relatively like the right people are in the jerseys and on the court. And they go up 19 points. And it's like, okay, well, this is the way this is going to go.
Yep.
And now it'll be up to the Pacers to try to close this thing out in a game 6 and at home. And if they can't do that, then they got to come back here. And, ooh, buddy, you talk about letting something slip away from you. And by the time you get even part of that through your head, it's like that big deficit has been erased, and suddenly the Pacers have control. And that's a rough one for Cleveland, man.
Yeah, and when they came back in that game, it was like, okay, this is done. Like, right?
Well,
Didn't you just feel that way?
Yes, but then there was a moment where Donovan Mitchell hit like back-to-back threes, and I was like, okay, he is built of the right. He's made of the right stuff.
Yep.
Maybe he can get them back in this thing. But ultimately, Indiana goes and closes that out. And yeah, I know the right people were largely in the jerseys last night, but the story of this series will be what we talked about previously, which is this is why you get in the fight, because you don't know who you're going to be fighting.
Right.
On paper, full strength, the Pacers are not the Cavs. I think we're realizing that the Pacers are better than we probably realized.
Definitely. I mean, they were there last year. I think they just flew under the radar all season. They had an amazing second half of the season in the regular season.
Because in the
we
East,
underrated them.
Because in
it's
the East,
true.
Cleveland was running away. Boston's the reigning champs. The Knicks are always a story.
Yep.
Who
And
cares?
it's the Pacers,
And it's
right?
the Pacers
Yeah.
with Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
But even Halliburton was like the guy who couldn't play for the Olympic team.
Right.
You know, it was just like, we just didn't pay attention to him outside of Indianapolis, probably. So what we're realizing is that the Pacers are probably better than we anticipated. And now they're going to find themselves in an opportunity to make it to the NBA Finals in a year where I don't think many people even put that on the list of possibilities. And then you saw the post game from Donovan Mitchell last night. He was pretty candid, and I thought good. Like, I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions about us, and to everybody who said, yeah, we're a great regular season team, but we're not built to do this in the postseason, you know, get your jokes off. This is a good time to do it. Congrats on being right, I guess. But we'll be back here. It's just going to motivate us, and we'll be back here. And I think that's largely true.
Yeah, that was cool by him.
He's just good.
Yeah, and he talked about like how much he loved the fans and all that kind of stuff. It was cool to see that.
He's easy to like.
I know they've gotten a championship and whatnot, but it was cool to see a star player say that and how excited he is about next year. It was cool.
He's on the list of guys who I think are easy to like.
Yeah,
Giannis is on that list in Milwaukee. Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland. He's just, every time I hear him talk, or most times I hear him talk, he just comes across as impressive. And I don't doubt for a second they're going to win a lot of games in the regular season again next season, and perhaps they'll benefit from having gone through this. But largely, they just weren't healthy.
No.
You know, they had to play games without Evan Mobley, games without Darius Garland, parts of games without Donovan Mitchell, and that kind of stuff catches up to you when you're playing a 50-win team led by a guy who, you know, has proven to be a high-level closer in the NBA, and that, of course, is Halliburton. Then we get to the nightcap, and that was about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
That was terrific. I'm tired of staying up late watching basketball every night, but I was glad I stayed up for that one because you had the former MVP and the soon-to-be MVP like trading shots in the fourth quarter. And I know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has never been called by anybody the best player in the world because he's not, but he is about to win the MVP for a variety of reasons.
Is he? He will. I think he will too.
You know what? I'm not even sure that he should. I just know that everybody who covers the NBA says it that way.
Yeah.
They all say it. They say the presumed MVP, the soon-to-be named MVP. It doesn't even feel like it's really a debate among NBA people. So I'm just parroting.
I think he'll be MVP too.
I'm just parroting what they say. I'm not sure it's right. I'm just saying that everybody seems to believe that is the way the voting's going to go.
But is he better than that other guy?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
And even last night, the other guy, woo!
Man, he's insane. That's the best player in the world.
He is the one guy. Tell me if this is true. I'll ask Vernon this too. He has no haters.
No, because you just watch him and like Charles.
Everybody else has haters. LeBron has haters. Jokic has no haters.
No, because Barkley was talking about him before the game, and just like to lead your team in all those categories that he leads them. I mean, dude,
he's outrageous.
He's outrageous. He just carries them.
They go to the postgame show, and even like Charles and all these guys who are often dismissive of the current players. They're all just amazed by this guy. Mm-hmm. He's unbelievable. But my larger point was Shai's going to be the MVP, even if he's not the best player in the world, even if he's not the best player in the series. But he delivered last night when it was time.
No, he did.
Like, that was fun. He had not done that too much in these playoffs.
No.
But when it was, first off, they're down 8 going into the fourth. Your whole season, and by definition, your whole thing could flip right here. You're down 8 points in a pivotal game 5. It was pivotal.
It was pivotal.
It was undeniably pivotal. You're down 8 points going into the fourth in a pivotal game 5. You lose this one, now you got to go to Denver. If you lose that one, it's over with, and you just wasted an incredible opportunity where you were a significant favorite to win the whole championship.
Yep.
If that fourth quarter doesn't go well, this whole thing could go the wrong way on you. And I think Shai got 10 points in the final 3:33. He was making big shot after big shot, one play after another. He put his imprint on that game in the fourth quarter when it was like, all right, if you're the MVP, go prove it. If you're the MVP, go win this game. He wasn't as good as the other guy, but he lifted his team to a come-from-behind victory in the fourth quarter. Again, 10 points in the final 3:33. He was awesome. It was an awesome game. And so now it looks like we're probably headed toward Oklahoma City, Minnesota, New York, Indiana. And the Thunder will be a heavy favorite to win that. But you're going to see people picking the Knicks. You're going to see some people pick the Timberwolves. And I think you'll probably see one or two. There'll be somebody out there who will try to tell you that the Pacers are going to be able to get this done. It's just going to be fascinating if it goes the way it's expected to go now. A fascinating conference finals, because we will have 4 franchises that I think all of which will have people out there saying, I believe that's the franchise that's going to win this. And I don't know that we always get that. Even when we get down to the Final Four, for lack of a better term, I don't think annually people always believe each of the 4 teams left have a real shot to win the thing.
Yeah.
But I think right now you can reasonably say any of these 4 teams that appear to be headed towards the conference finals could reasonably win the whole thing, particularly if, as the playoffs often go, a turned ankle or a torn Achilles continues to shape,
I want a Game 7 in that OKC-Denver series. I want a Game 7.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to crown them yet.
A Game 7 in Oklahoma City.
I want a Game 7.
One more between Jokic and SGA would be terrific.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll get it, but I'll watch it if it's on.
I'll watch it too.
Chris Vernon's up next.
Talk a little bit about Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells, man, he finished 3rd in the balloting for NBA Rookie of the Year. He's going to be back. He's going to play in Summer League, and maybe he'll shoot some left-handed jumpers out there. Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
With a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
This week, We're going to run down the hits and the misses from WrestleMania 41.
The main event, NXT title on the line, Obafemi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans. One of the greatest triple threat matches I've ever seen in my life.
I'm shocked.
And it made history because it's the first time there's 3 black men highlighting a NXT pay-per-view.
Okay.
That was dope too.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Built Ford Tough Studio, and on Wednesdays in the second segment, I'm joined by the host of the Chris Vernon Show, weekdays noon, Grind City Media. It's Chris Vernon.
Here I am.
It's Chris Vernon.
You're lucky I even showed up. You're lucky. And you know what? And you.
What?
Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Look at him.
Where were you? How come you didn't stand up for me yesterday? Ooh. He's like old blabbermouth over there, or whatever the hell he was called. What was he called?
Mouth. Oh, big mouth.
Big mouth over there says you need playoff scars. Old big mouth says you need playoff scars. Instead of you saying, you know what? A, Chris is not blabbermouth or whatever it was.
Oh, big mouth.
B, he's the only reasonable one that's here at all of Grind City Media that understands the history of the NBA. And he speaks on that.
I know the history of the NBA.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I'm a lifelong fan.
Bennett knows the history of the NBA.
All right, guys,
Last thing I wanted to do today is have to listen to you talk about how Oklahoma City don't have enough battle scars, and now they're down 3-2 headed to Denver.
Right.
So that was an important fourth quarter for me last night. I was glad to see.
All right, I'm just
Shea
gonna educate you guys because you guys need an education.
Okay.
When I say these things, this isn't narrative.
Oh, it sounded like a narrative. Sounded like a narrative.
Narrative or opinion that you are allowed to not agree with. Okay, this is the playoffs expanded 41 years ago to where there were 8 teams in either side.
If you say so, historian.
Okay, you can look it up.
Okay, I'm going to.
So that's 41 NBA champions.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Okay. 37 of those 41 NBA champions have been to a conference finals at least within the 3 years prior to them winning their NBA championship. The 4 that apply, because I know you're going to ask, are the 94 Rockets when Michael Jordan went to go play baseball.
Yeah.
The 2015, or I'm sorry, the 08 Celtics, and then the 15 Warriors, and the 20 Lakers. The 08 Celtics added Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen.
That's right.
So we would say that's an extenuating circumstance. And we would say that the 20 Lakers added Anthony Davis. That's an extenuating circumstance.
And the Warriors fired Mark Jackson.
But they had been to the correct. Okay. So if we just take out the Lakers and the Celtics, that's now to 39 out of the last 41 NBA champions have been to at least the conference finals in the 3 years prior to them winning the title. That is 95% of all NBA champions. So you need to explain to me how it is opinion or narrative that young teams need to take playoff scars before they win, when 95% of the NBA champions have all had to do that.
My pushback is not with the numbers. I understand the numbers. I understand.
It doesn't feel like you do.
I understand numbers. Where I push back, where I have an issue is when, whether it's you or anybody else, says something like, they won't do it and here's why, as opposed to history suggests this is not a normal thing for a franchise like Oklahoma City to do. Of course it's not. You just gave us the history lesson. But can they do it? Oh, I think they can do it. And I actually think they will.
So you think they are different than literally everyone else in the history of the NBA.
Well, they don't have to be different than literally everybody else.
I mean,
I do think
one team.
I think they're different than most.
Well, I guess we're going to find out in Game 6.
And
I mean, dude, I don't know why you're looking at me. I hate them too. Like, don't get it twisted.
He wants you to stand up and defend him in his absence.
I told him I was going to throw up when he said thunder up on this show yesterday.
Do you know how mad I was? So last night, in the fourth quarter, Nikola Jokic was 4 for 6 from the field. The rest of his team
right.
was 1 for 15.
So no.
And the one was that stupid layup at the end that didn't make any difference. An uncontested run-out layup. They were 0 for 14. Make a shot. Jeez.
That Westbrook air ball.
Well, Devin.
Close the door.
Dude,
come on, man. You can't take that shot.
Well, last night, Devin tweets, he loves Russell Westbrook, but he's got some of the most hilarious air balls in playoff history. And by the time we're done laughing at that, he did another one.
Not even close.
And
it is crazy. You talk about it, like the margins are so slim in this stuff, right? I think I read Lou Dort was 11 for 40 from 3.
Yeah.
He had almost been rendered unplayable.
Right.
Nate Duncan, who I respect a great deal, right? Who, I mean, he is X's and O's, like deep dive guy, right? Nate is.
Yes.
Nate's tweeting like over and over again, bro, you got to get Lou Dort out of there. And then he has to like tweet again. Lou Dort just made 3 straight threes. And it's like, bro, he was 11 for 40. Like, that is the game plan.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, it's kind of crazy because if you go back in time, last year, if you go back to Game 5 of Oklahoma City and Dallas, and this is the learning how to win in the playoffs, that exact same thing happened to them, where it's like, and so many times, it's just going to come down to whether Russell Westbrook can throw it in the ocean or Lou Dort can make these shots, because last year, they walled up with Kyrie and Luka, and Derrick Jones Jr. and P.J. Washington shot them out of the playoffs.
That's right.
And it's like, I understand, like, if you're Mark Daigneault or you're the Thunder, you're like, bro, if we lose because Derrick Jones Jr. is going to knock down threes every time he takes them, that's fine. I mean, look, we've lived it here where it was like,
well, Rui Hachimura.
If he does it, we lose.
Right.
And so, like, last night, that's the moment, and it's like, Russell Westbrook is,
right.
Bro, not even like close
Not
to
close.
the goal. Like, bro, at least hit something so that there could be an offensive rebound.
Dude, I mean, it's comical.
It's unfathomable, honestly, to miss a shot that badly.
If you saw a walk-on at Memphis come into the game and miss one with 45 seconds left, you would laugh.
You know what it reminds me of? And, again, we're going to have to go back in time with this, but when you were never a big weight guy. If you ever lift weights and walk to the basketball court and then shoot the ball.
I got to take shit. Well, you don't know anything about weights.
If you were ever,
you don't know anything about creatine.
If you ever lifted weights and then walked and tried to shoot a basketball.
Okay, no, I don't know anything about that.
I know, you can't relate.
You don't know how to make a creatine shake.
But that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. Like, you have no feel whatsoever. You've just been lifting all these weights, now you grab a basketball, and your first shot you just chuck it over the ball, over the rim by 20 feet. That's exactly what it looks like. And, credit Lou Dort. He buried him.
No.
They want Lou Dort shooting that shot. Like, the whole thing.
Wasn't there a playoff series a million years ago when he was young, and it was like,
oh yeah,
this was the thing with him. It was like, if you're going to keep him on the court, he's going to took 11 threes, or it was like they just left him alone, and it was like, you've either got to make these or we're going to lose by 50, but this is how we're going to play this game.
Well, and this happens with all manner of different people. Obviously,
Draymond.
Tony Allen, who was in with me, right? I'm watching last night, and you were talking about the Cavs and the Pacers a little bit earlier. You watch that, and you're going, man, this Cavs team sure does feel a lot like the Grizzlies, right? Where they got one awesome defender, and the rest of these guys can't stay in front of anybody, and they can't play. The one guy they have that can like really guard is Isaac Okoro, and you can't play him,
right?
Because they can't
They can't play him.
Yep.
They can't play him, right?
Right.
It'd be great.
Right.
To be, you look on the other side, and who's it? It's friggin' Neesmith.
Right.
It's Nemhard. Not only can these guys guard you like dogs,
They make shots.
They can make shots.
That's
Like
right.
if you leave them open, they're gonna knock down shots. And that was kind of the thing with, and I'll give credit. This coach is obviously evolving a lot as well, because a lot of guys, as you go through the playoffs, they wouldn't have, like, he stuck with Lou Dort last night and was rewarded for it. And you go the game before, he rolled out with Kason Wallace and Caruso, right? And they were the big ones that, like, made it happen in the fourth quarter. And they were the guys, and Aaron Wiggins hit a huge shot as well. But it's like he kind of abandoned Lou Dort in the game before. And then this game, he goes back to him to the point where everybody that's watching is like, man, I don't know if I'd have Lou Dort in there. You're kind of playing 4-on-5. I mean, he buries.
But that's coaching.
He buries all three of them. Right. I mean, we've had so many times in the history of the Grizzlies where that happens, and it's crazy that so many times it could come down to: is Andrew Wiggins going to knock down shots?
That's right.
Is D'Angelo Russell going to knock down shots? Is Rui Hachimura going to knock down shots? Is whoever, right?
Well,
'Cause you can't worry about everybody.
Well, the NBA does sometimes come down to that. I mean, like, famously, it's Michael Jordan passing a ball off to Steve Kerr?
Yeah, Steve Kerr.
Right.
And John Paxson.
And John Paxson, right? It's like sometimes it comes down to, are those guys going to make the shot?
Right.
That's the history of the NBA.
And it's wild because I feel, and some of these teams are just better, whatever you're not good at is exposed 100-fold.
That's right.
When it comes to the playoffs, right?
So let me ask you one last thing on Oklahoma City, and I ask it from an honest place. I'm not just trying to pick fights.
Yep.
How do you distinguish the fact that most teams do need to, as you put it, get to a conference finals within a 3-year period before they go do the whole thing? Mm-hmm. The history tells that story. How do you balance that against the fact that there are a lot of things Oklahoma City did this regular season that, if you look at that from a historical perspective, like every team that did these A, B, and C went on to win the championship?
What I would say is that your playoff success is a much better indicator. Mm-hmm. That's what I would tell you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right? Because your regular season success, I mean, look, for the 80% of the season, we covered a team that I came in here every day and told you, this is not a good playoff basketball team.
Right.
We were the 2 seed.
Yeah.
The 2 seed.
Right.
We knew. The whole year we knew we're not built for playoff basketball, right? Now, that is different than Oklahoma City, right? They are clearly built for playoff basketball. But I would also tell you that all of those historical markers would also, not all of them, but many of them, just apply to a team that we saw got wiped out last night, right? It also applied to a 60-something win Hawks team. It also applied to the Donovan Mitchell Utah teams, right? That were 60. I mean, there were.
But I've heard some people lay it out this way, and I don't have it right in front of me. But say, if you look at the history of the NBA in the regular season, teams that did this, and this, whatever those things were,
right,
without exception, they went on to win a championship.
That's interesting.
There is some of that connected to Oklahoma City.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
We're going to find out.
You think they're going to win Game 6?
I do. I think they're going to close it out in Denver.
No, you don't.
I do think they'll close it out in Denver.
He does not think that.
I believe that.
He's saying that.
Thunder up.
He's saying that
Thunder up.
because it's the right thing to say and because he knows he don't want Game 7.
I don't want Game 7.
You don't want Game 7 against Nikola Jokic.
No. Booty hole's going to get tight.
Buddy!
He's a monster. He's a monster.
Buddy.
Hey, I was talking a bit about the... I don't think... Maybe he's not the only guy in the NBA with no haters, because I think probably Steph has no haters.
Oh, no. Jokic has haters.
Does he?
For sure.
Who hates him?
I mean, it's just the people that, do not think that he gets more credit than he deserves. Most of them have fallen off.
Yeah.
But I would just alert you to the internet. Again, I've told you many times. Back in the day, they used to have likes and dislikes on YouTube, and there's a compilation of John Cena with Make-A-Wish kids, and it had almost, I mean, it had like 1 million dislikes. It's like, there are 1 million people that watch John Cena with a Make-A-Wish kid and wrote, I don't like that.
Right.
So, I mean, like, that's the cost of, you are right, though, in the sense that he's,
yeah.
I tell you this, I think Ant's there.
Well, Charles Barkley hates him.
But you ever see anybody that doesn't like him?
Everybody who has sex with him.
I mean, they like him for at least, I don't know, how long? You think he probably is good at it?
I would assume
so
he's good at it.
I was going to say a short amount of time. But, I mean,
he looks
I
athletic.
didn't want to put our timelines on it. He's probably like real good at it.
I bet he's good.
In great shape.
I bet he's wonderful.
Yeah,
I bet he's tremendous.
So, I think the ones that haven't gotten pregnant probably still like him.
Yeah, it's just the one. It's just you end up having to carry a baby. That's a tough spot. It's a tough spot.
Right, yeah,
it's a tough spot.
But I mean, look, he is. Right, I would say he's pretty high up there. He doesn't have a lot of haters. I don't think Anthony Edwards has a lot of haters.
Charles Barkley wants him to stop taking all the 3-point shots that he makes.
I understand. I think the Barkley thing is a lot like I think it's just like the way they view basketball.
Yes.
And also the same way we did this with LeBron for so many years, which is, bro, you're bailing me out. Yeah. I got it. You shoot these things and you shoot them really well. But I got no chance of staying in front of you.
That's right.
I got a chance you missed that three.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean?
No, it's a philosophical argument about the approach to basketball.
Yeah, and threes become a lot harder to hit in the playoffs. So it seems.
Right.
You know, tell the Nuggets.
Last thing before I get you out of here, we got confirmation yesterday. It came quick. Jason Tatum, the ruptured Achilles, surgically repaired, done for the season, possibly done for all of next season. Is it hyperbolic to say that an entire possible dynasty just fell apart?
Okay, so I will just say, because of the structure of the NBA now, with this apron, second apron, all that crap, there's never going to be another dynasty. I don't believe
you
that.
Can't pay everybody.
You can't afford it.
Right.
You can't afford
which
the dynasty.
Which I think is a real problem. I do not think, just fundamentally, and I know it's complicated,
that's right,
but fundamentally, I don't think you should
have to break up
things that you developed.
Correct.
Like if you're in Oklahoma City, you identified these guys, you developed them, you created this, and now because of rules, you can't keep it together? That seems crazy.
It's almost like you should get a break on the cap.
Yes.
Right? If they're your own guys.
Yes.
Right? Like
something.
Right. You've already implemented that you've made it easier for you to retain. Guys don't leave max offers like they used to. Even Donovan Mitchell stayed in Cleveland. Nobody in the world thought he was going to stay in Cleveland. That being, by the way, they just got destroyed because Mobley won Defensive Player of the Year.
Right.
This could have very well happened. The Grizzlies keep catching breaks.
Oh, yeah.
Jaren is probably not going to make All-NBA.
Right.
Because of the way the last month
went. That's like $100 million.
$100 million. And they caught the break on Ja's extension.
That's right.
And they caught the break on, I mean, it's kind of wild when you look in retrospect how much money they have saved on Ja and Jaren.
Well, you go back, how did the Warriors thing get started?
Right,
With a favorable Steph Curry contract because of the ankle.
And so here's what I'll say. I think you really get 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think they were going to run it back and try to get this other one, but now it'll be broken up. And obviously, I think, honestly, anything less than, I think almost even if they would have won the title, because they changed ownership as well. But you look, and that's what makes the Minnesota thing so impressive, because Minnesota made a money deal. I thought they'd just run it back for one more year.
Right.
But they made a money deal in the DiVincenzo Randle deal because Towns is so expensive, right? And they know how much Anthony Edwards is going to cost. I think you've really got like 2-year windows of spending a crazy amount. Right. And because then you're going to want to get under it because they start taking away draft picks years down the road. And like that's when it becomes super punitive. And so I think most of these, with the repeater tax, with the second apron, with all that kind of stuff, I don't think we're ever going to have like a team that's able to. This is because Boston, if we accept that Boston's not going to win.
Right.
I do not think the last repeat is
Golden State.
It's got to be.
Yeah. The KD, right?
It's a long time ago, bro.
Yeah, 2017-18.
Huh?
Yeah. 2017-18.
Yeah, that's the last one to repeat. We have had a different champion every single year since then.
Yeah.
And I think it's just going to continue that way,
Yeah.
right? I think it's just really hard unless Oklahoma City is going to have a chance but they're still going to have another year before the money kicks in on Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. So no matter what happens with them this year.
Yeah, they can run this back next year.
Yeah, and they are set up, and then they will have a decision to make. It seems as if they will pay Jalen Williams, they will pay Chet Holmgren, and that will be their core. Right? But then, as we've learned here, it's hard to build out. And we ain't even spending what you should have to spend on these guys. And look at what you're able to flank around them. It's hard to put together unless you are going to spend $200+ million. It is hard to put together a team that's gonna, be able to compete at the highest level. But Oklahoma City, they've just drafted so damn well.
One more thing, because you mentioned if we all assume the Celtics are not going to get out of this, do we all assume that? Because I do. I do too.
I just don't think they can win three
in a row
without him.
But they
can win one in a row.
But they're favored tonight, and if we get to a game 7, they will be favored in that one.
Well, what did they
So
say?
if they can play 3 games, they might not get to play 3 games, but if they can play 3, they'll be favored in 2 of them.
Part of it is just I guess if Porzingis magically appeared good again, he's been so terrible.
He's just slow.
He's been so terrible. I did read this morning they're 8-2 without him.
Yes.
That's kind of
wild. That is wild.
I mean, they still got Hall of Fame guys on the court.
It's not. It's not. Do I think they can win the game without beat the Knicks without Jason Tatum?
Can they beat them 3 times in a row?
Do I think they could beat the Knicks 3 games in a row?
That's tough.
Without Jason Tatum.
Tough. That's tough.
I mean,
that's tough
because then. Because even if they had Jason Tatum, you could foresee a circumstance where they could beat the Knicks 3 times in a row.
Yes. Oh, people would be picking them to do it. Without him, it's just hard.
But without him, I mean, geez, man.
It's
hard. I mean, you're putting a lot on. I suppose if Jaylen Brown earns that $300 million contract.
Yeah.
Right?
Celtics 4.5-point favorites tonight.
Timberwolves. They are 4.5.
4.5-point favorites tonight. Timberwolves 10.5.
10.5?
Big number. Big number.
I did not see that coming.
10.5? 10.5.
I guess that tells you everything you need to know about whether Curry's playing.
Yeah.
Yep. And then that is the thing. They're going to try to end this thing.
You have to. Don't play around.
No, you
don't
have to
play around. Don't get.
This is their only chance because their only chance would be to get Curry back for 6. Ant even told Gary Payton that.
Yeah, you do not want to go back to San Francisco. No. Steph Curry coming back. Mm-hmm. Then you're back in a game 7. And there's Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. Nah, you just get it done. Get it done tonight.
They haven't won any of these games by 11 points, have they? Because even you saw that one where Draymond was saying the spread's 4 and 5
they
and a half.
won. They won.
Told his team the spread's 5 and a half, and the guy went out and hit a 3.
HD.
They won game 2 by 24, but then the past 2, they won it by 5 and by 7. But those were also in San Francisco. Now they're back.
Oh yeah, game 2 they killed them. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's a lot like the Oklahoma City.
We'll stay up and watch it, and then we'll talk about it again tomorrow.
I will say, as someone who has to record podcasts after these games, I was glad that. So because the Pacers ended that series, that means there's only one game on Thursday. That's the next time I record.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it moves those games back. That game's now at 7:30.
Perfect.
Oh,
perfect.
Oh, it's great. I finally don't have to stay up until 1 in the morning doing these stupid podcasts.
Well, every night, because I don't have to stay up till 1 in the morning to do these podcasts, and I'm like, I'm not staying up tonight, and I just find myself like I'm just with it till the end of the night. They've been fun.
Last night was a great payoff.
The best.
Yeah. Great payoff.
I mean, you had the MVP trading shots. It was
the worst is when, like, in the third quarter of Monday night's game with the Warriors and the Wolves, it was 68-68, and then the Wolves went on a 17-0 run in the third quarter. So it's 85-68. That game's over.
Right.
And then I've got to sit there and watch the rest of it. and then record after it. I'm like, oh, come on. No. I just want to go to bed.
Just trying to go to sleep. But last night we got to pay off. You're going to stay up late, you at least want to.
That was great. Great game.
Great game. All right, that's Chris Vernon. He'll be in the big studio in about 70 minutes.
Thunder down.
Thunder up. Thunder.
I will. I got you. My bad, dude. No, I got you. I got you next time.
He sat there quietly. He didn't defend you. He didn't fight for you the way you want him to fight for you. But Bennett, I appreciated you not fighting for him. You don't need to be fighting for him. You should be on my team.
No, dude, I'm not.
Let Roser fight for him. You're on my team.
No, I'm not listening to you sit there and say thunder up.
Thunder
That's
up.
disgusting.
Thunder up.
No, get that out of here.
I respect excellence.
Go to break.
I am not jealous of a fellow small market Western Conference franchise.
That's gross.
I do not look at them with envy or jealousy. I look at them with respect and admiration.
Absolutely not.
I look at them with respect and admiration.
No.
I look at their crowd and I go, what is going on with you guys?
They have been gifted everything. They've had no adversity. They've never had adversity in the history of that franchise in Oklahoma City.
I'm not going to let you sit here and lie like that.
They've never had adversity.
Kevin Durant left them.
And then they got 5 million great players in return.
Because they're running a franchise well. Kevin Durant left them. That's adversity.
I like
your young MVP, the face of your franchise, stands up and says, I would rather go somewhere else than be here. Imagine how you'd feel if Ja Morant did that to you.
It would hurt. I like the franchises that have been through it.
That's going through it.
No, battle scars, pain, agony.
You sound like old Big Mouth over there.
They've been handed it all on a silver platter.
Handed it all? KD looked at him and said, you're not good enough, little Oklahoma City.
That's because the paper wrote an article saying he was a huge disappointment after the Grizzlies beat him.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What did they call him? Mr.
What was it? Was it Mr. Unreliable or something like that?
I think it was Mr. Unreliable.
On the front page of the damn paper. I mean, yeah, if the Commercial Appeal put out I don't know if they do papers anymore, but if they put out a paper, the front page was like, Ja Morant, huge disappointment, I'd be kind of pissed too.
That is adversity in all seriousness. Kevin Durant walking away from you. I bet there's a moment you're in Oklahoma City, you're an Oklahoma City fan, you're a Thunder fan, and you go, well, this is what it's going to be like for us. We can draft a Kevin Durant, but we'll never be able to keep a Kevin Durant. This is what it's going to be like for us. We'll probably never have another MVP, and this is going to be our life going forward. That's real adversity. There was a moment where I bet they felt like that.
They don't have my respect.
I don't look at them with jealousy and envy. I
don't either.
I look at them with admiration and respect. Thunder up.
No.
But in all seriousness, I'm really only rooting for them.
I know. I know your motives. Come on. I know you.
My motives are so that I can tell old Big Mouth that he was wrong about them the whole time.
I know.
All right? I am not the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The Thunder is the enemy of my enemy, Bill Big Mouth over there. So I have to thunder up.
Nah, we're getting Game 7.
So that every time I walk in here, I can be like, hey there, old Big Mouth. Tell me more about the necessary battle scars. Tell me more about those battle scars, Big Mouth.
We're about to find out who the real MVP is, all right? We're going to decide it in a Game 7. In fact, that's why they're postponing the announcement, because we're waiting for Game 7. And we're going to decide who the MVP is then. I know that's not how it works, but that's how it's going to work this year.
Ain't going to be no Game 7. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander ripped their heart out last night.
Okay, we'll see.
Thunder in 6. Thunder 2025 NBA champions. Thunder up. Their crowd is weird, though. Can I say that? Is that an okay thing for me to say?
Mm-hmm.
Do you watch?
I do watch.
It doesn't even look like a real basketball game.
Where's the soul? Where's the energy?
I know what you mean.
No, I mean just like everyone's just sitting down like
say what you're trying to say.
No.
Say what you're trying to say.
No, I'm not trying to say anything. Everyone's just doing this the whole time. Where's your passion?
Where's your diversity?
Where's your passion?
Where's your diversity? And they're all dressed exactly the same. Here's all the blue shirts.
I'd never put the shirt on.
I would never put the shirt on.
I don't care. I would never put the shirt on.
Every once in a while, they'll try some shit like that at 8-year-old baseball.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, hey, parents, hey, the kids are wearing the blue uniforms with the navy socks, and parents can put on these shirts.
I'm not putting the shirt on. I would never do it.
No, I'll wear what I want to wear to the baseball game, okay? I don't have a uniform, all right? I'm just here to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wear what I want to wear. All right? But somehow in Oklahoma City, they convinced 18,000 people to all wear the same stuff, whatever they tell you to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And you know those.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. And you know those shirts can't be great quality. That's not soft. That's not soft cloud spun. That's not cloud spun cotton.
Yeah, I bet they itch.
I bet they itch.
Yeah. Especially after not
how
doing
do
a wash
convince-
at home first.
How do they convince 18,000 white people to all put on the same itchy shirt? And then they just sit there like this. It looks like a video game. It looks like my kids are playing a video game, and the crowd is just like AI generated. It's just like they don't look like real people.
It does look like a video game. I saw you post that, and I was like, it does look like I'm watching NBA 2K.
See if Kyra can pull up my tweet from last night.
I'm watching NBA 2K.
If Kyra can pull up my tweet from last night about this, and I should have sent it to her. That's on me. But I'm like just sitting there watching the game, and I'm like, if I paused this, you would not be able to tell if these are real people or not. It doesn't look like a real crowd. Everybody is the same color. Everybody is wearing the same color. Look at that.
That looks like a video game.
It doesn't look like those are real people. How did they do that? How did they convince people? Because they wouldn't be able to convince me.
Maybe they're AI generated. It's like that fake crowd noise they pump in the arena.
I got some questions about what's going on in Oklahoma City. It looks a little weird to me. They got a good basketball team. I enjoy their basketball team. I look at them with respect and admiration.
Nah, I do not.
I look at them with respect and admiration. But really, I'm just trying to shut old Big Mouth up over there.
Good luck.
All right. Thunder up. Say it with me, Bennett.
Never.
Thunder up. Thunder up. When we come back, ACC meetings are happening right now, and the league brought in a consultant to help explain to its football coaches, basketball coaches, athletic directors, exactly what the NIL clearinghouse is going to look like theoretically going forward once this lawsuit gets settled and new rules are put into place. And I can already tell you that we're going to have a lot more lawsuits. I'll explain why. We'll do that next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
Going to do our pick six favorite Outkast songs in honor of Outkast being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Elevators is the most creative.
Me and you.
Yes. Your mama and your cousin too.
Every time I hear somebody say me and you, I
just go to the next one, right?
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots. That
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're gonna get seated this. So who's gonna actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app. Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. And that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays, in the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Interesting report from Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports, last night pertaining to the ACC spring meetings. These are meetings every conference holds every spring, and they bring in the athletic directors and football coaches and basketball coaches and various other people, and they all sit down and discuss and debate and talk about whatever it is they need to talk about. Mostly it's just, golf and days at the beach. I've been to these conferences before. It's a lot of golf and a lot of time at the beach. So the ACC is holding theirs right now, and they invited somebody from the accounting firm that the NCAA is going to use to serve as a clearinghouse on NIL deals going forward. Okay. For people who are unfamiliar, we have been operating not technically, but for all intents and purposes without NCAA rules for a little bit now. Yep. You can kind of just do whatever you want to do. Again, not technically, but for all intents and purposes, you can kind of just do what you want to do right now. Yep. If you decide you want to give P.J. Haggerty $7 million to play basketball, you can give P.J. Haggerty $7 million to play basketball in the form of an NIL deal. Well, once these new rules go into place, what the NCAA is going to have is an accounting firm that monitors all NIL deals. If you're the University of Memphis, if you're the University of Arkansas, University of Tennessee, Tennessee Martin, it doesn't matter. You're going to sign a basketball player, football player, soccer player, volleyball player to an NIL deal through your collective. The details of that deal must be sent to this clearinghouse. Then they review it, and they compare and contrast it to what they consider legitimate deals with professional athletes. So they will look at, let's just put some names on it, numbers on it. Let's say Memphis decided it wanted to offer $4 million to get P.J. Haggerty back to school. All right. And they say, yeah, this is an NIL deal from our collective. Here's $4 million, and what P.J. Haggerty is going to have to do to get this is sign autographs at this car lot on a Wednesday and make an appearance at this bank on a Tuesday, and these are his responsibilities. And for this money, he'll do those things, and for doing those things, he'll get $4 million. All
right.
Well, now this firm will come in and say, okay, here's the problem. P.J. Haggerty is not LeBron James. And even LeBron James would not get paid $4 million just to show up one day at a car lot or show up one day at a bank. This is not a legitimate marketing deal that falls in line with any other marketing deal that we know exists. This is invalid. This is not allowed. That's the way this is going to work. They'll either say this is cool or it's not.
Okay.
And what the officials told ACC administrators yesterday during this meeting is that 70% of the deals that have been getting done through collectives in recent years would be denied. In other words, everything that you have heard about happening over the past year or two as it pertains to NIL and Arkansas or Kentucky or Memphis or Tennessee or anybody else buying players, the way they've been doing that, what this accounting firm is telling us that is soon going to be in charge of okaying these or not, is that they would deny 70% of them. They would label them illegitimate.
Okay.
All right? So when I say things like, and I can smell the lawsuits coming, here's what I mean. The reason we are in this place that we're in right now is because the NCAA had rules in place for decades that were deemed illegal. They would tell you if you're a student athlete at an NCAA certified university, you are not allowed to take anything from anybody. All right? Mm-hmm. Those were the rules. And eventually, enough people said, this is crazy. This is $1 billion industry. Everybody around me is getting rich, including the schools, the television networks, everybody, the coaches, the athletic directors. But if I take a hamburger from a booster, I'm possibly ineligible? This is crazy. And it feels like illegal. Let's challenge it in court. And every time the judge rules against the NCAA. So they had to abandon these rules. I'll let the lawyers figure this out. They're smarter than I am. But here's the issue I keep running into, and when I bounce it off lawyers, they don't have a great answer for it. If judges at every level of our judicial system in this court have determined that telling student athletes they can't take anything in exchange for whatever, if that's deemed illegal, how is it not also going to be illegal when you tell people what it is they can and cannot take, even if it's above zero? Why is zero illegal, but 20,000 might be okay, but 25,000 might be illegal? Like what? Capping it at zero, we know is illegal. That's been determined.
Mm-hmm.
How is capping it anywhere not going to also be legally challenged? Am I making sense here? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because here's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to pay PJ Haggerty $4 million. Or it'll be the next PJ Haggerty, whoever that next person is, once these rules are in place. Somebody's going to say, we want to give PJ Haggerty $4 million through our NIL collective. And this accounting firm is going to come in and say, that doesn't line up with any deal that we are aware of. Shohei Ohtani doesn't get $4 million to do what it is they're asking you to do. So this deal is clearly just pay for play, not legitimate NIL. We void the deal. This is not allowed. All right, let's go to court. Why isn't a judge going to say, why does it matter what Shohei Ohtani gets in endorsements or what LeBron James gets in endorsements or what anybody else gets in endorsements? Do you agree that if somebody wanted to give LeBron James $400 million to show up at a bank one time, they could do that? They would be allowed to do that. Yeah, sure. So why can't somebody do that for PJ Haggerty? Why does it matter what their motivation is? As it pertains to the law, why does it matter what their motivation is? Your rules cannot trump laws. For decades they did. That's a non-starter now. Your rules cannot trump laws. So just because in the real world people aren't giving out marketing deals like this, legally, how are you going to tell a college basketball player, college football player, they can't take a marketing deal like this if somebody is willing to give it to them? You're just going to end up right back in court.
Yep.
We're going right back to court. And these caps will then be done away with. And we'll be right back to where we were.
Mm-hmm.
It is insane to me how the people in charge refuse to acknowledge what it is I'm saying. This thing that they're trying to fix right now, the fix isn't even a real fix. It's a temporary thing that will be challenged in court and defeated. And then you'll be right back to trying to make another fix, when the only actual fix is to do what we've been saying for years: turn this into professional sports, let the student athletes collectively bargain, get a CBA in place, and then then you actually, because here's the thing, you can put in caps and make rules, but it has to be agreed upon on both sides. You can't just say these are the rules. Like, the NFL can't just tell the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers and the entire Players Association, here is the salary cap. We've decided this is what it is. No, that has to be negotiated with lawyers. That has to be agreed upon. And then you'll sacrifice this and they'll sacrifice this, and it's a negotiating, and eventually all sides say, okay, deal. And then you can enforce the deal that you negotiated from every side. But that's not what they're doing here. The NCAA did not negotiate these caps or rules with anybody. They're just saying, here's our new rules. Well, your new rules will get challenged in court and they'll lose too, and it'll be a never-ending debate until they do what they should have done a long time ago.
Number 2.
A report from Hitman Hoops, who has become among the most reliable Memphis reporters that exist, at least as it pertains to Memphis basketball. Hitman Hoops is reporting that Arkansas and John Calipari are in discussions with the University of Memphis to play an exhibition game in Memphis, presumably at FedEx Forum, in advance of this upcoming season in a benefit that would raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in downtown Memphis. It sounds like it's part 2 of what we started last season.
Yeah, the Hoops for St. Jude.
When North Carolina men and South Carolina women came in to play the University of Memphis men and women's basketball teams, and that raised money for St. Jude. There was always a hope that we would get another version of this, and it sounds like we are close to doing that. And this one would be especially interesting because it would not bring John Calipari back to Memphis for the first time since he left Memphis. He did coach in FedEx Forum with Kentucky.
Yes.
In the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 several years ago. So he's been back to Memphis. I mean, he's back to Memphis all the time. I think he was here yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, I think I saw him with your uncle.
Yeah, he was here.
Okay, yeah.
He was here.
So he is back here often, but it will be the first time he will have coached against the University of Memphis since leaving the University of Memphis. And even if it wouldn't be a, quote, real game, it'd be a moment. It'd be something.
Yeah, he talked about like potentially getting honored one day, or he was asked about it by the media. I think Mike Sadie asked him the question, and he said, you know, I'd be open to do it. Something along the lines of I'd be open to do it, but I want all my players to be back as well.
Right.
But you know, if this happens, I think it's awesome, dude, because it's. You know where I stand on the whole thing. Like, I think that it's far past time that we honor him for some of the greatest years we've ever had in the history of the program.
You ready for this? He's the best coach in the history of the university.
Yeah. And then this...
regardless of sport.
And then it's also a no-brainer that Arkansas should be playing the University of Memphis. It's one of those regional rivalries we talk about, like Ole Miss, like Tennessee. It's just one of those games that makes so much sense. And I know this would, in theory, be an exhibition game, but it's a start. And the one last year was really cool. And I thought it was awesome to have these huge brands in North Carolina men and South Carolina women here. I will say, I think you got a chance of bringing more people into the arena if Arkansas is playing this exhibition game against Memphis. Yeah.
Don't forget what the stated goal here is. It's not just to play a basketball game. It's to raise money for St. Jude. You will raise more money with John Calipari than you will with North Carolina.
Yeah.
There'll be Memphis fans who will say, I want to be in the building when John Calipari
returns, right?
Is there. Either because I want to
boo him or cheer him.
Whatever you want to do, you'll want to be there. And if John really does sign off on this, I give him an immense amount of credit because that might be an uncomfortable day for him. And he'd be willing to go through that in the spirit of raising what would be real money for a very important place in the city. And for all of John's whatevers, he does have a big heart. Like, he does have a history of being charitable and trying to raise money, whether it's for tornado victims or flood victims, or...
He's fond of the city. He likes it here. I mean, he liked his time here.
He left for Kentucky.
Yes.
Literally any coach that doesn't have lifelong ties to Memphis would leave Memphis for Kentucky. I've never gotten caught up on this. Like, literally never.
Me either.
I can remember John Calipari leaving Memphis on whatever day of the week that was, going to the Final Four, bumping into him at a restaurant. I mean, he just 2 days ago left Memphis. That's my alma mater. And I see him. He's got his Kentucky thing on already. And I bump into him at a restaurant. And you know what I did? I congratulated him.
Yeah.
I said, I'm happy for you and your family. You know, hate to see you go, but I'm happy for you. Because that is genuinely how I felt. I hated to see him go, but I was happy for him and his family because I knew how much that meant to him to get on that side of the rope, so to speak. He'd always been kind of an outsider. Like, yeah, you can coach at UMass and Memphis, but Kentucky, they don't want you. Indiana, they wouldn't touch you. UCLA, not somebody like you. He'd always been thought of a little bit like that. I mean, honestly, he was the right hire when they pushed Tubby Smith out. But my understanding back then was, well, we're the University of Kentucky. We're not going to hire somebody like John Calipari. They looked down at him like a little cheater. That's the real perception.
Yeah.
We're not going to hire somebody like that. Well, then you hire Billy Gillespie. that's a disaster. And you realize we got to get this right. So you can't get Billy Donovan, can't get Jay Wright. Might as well go get John Calipari. So you go get John Calipari then. And he was always going to take that job, just like anybody in his shoes outside of somebody with lifelong ties and allegiances to the city of Memphis or the University of Memphis. Without exception, they would all take that job. And so I just never got caught up on, I can't believe other people, and I'm sure it's in the chat, well, it's not that he left, it's how he left. There's no good way to do it. There's just no good way to do it.
Right.
And you can get mad about the recruiting class. John Wall never wanted to play at Memphis. He wanted to play for John Calipari. DeMarcus Cousins didn't want to play for Memphis. He wanted to play for John Calipari. Like, even that was just always a byproduct of everything else. So how would I feel with John coming back to Memphis? I would hope that he would be properly appreciated, that he would get this standing ovation and good moment that I do believe he earned.
Yep.
This is not hyperbole. He's responsible for the best years in the history of the University of Memphis basketball. You can love Larry Finch. You can love Dana Kirk. You can love Penny Hardaway. The best coach in the history of Memphis basketball is John Calipari. And you ready? Probably forever will be.
Well, and I think the thing, too, with this potentially happening, and if you could find a way to even tie into the celebration on the same weekend or something like that, if you wanted to do something like that, it would be good for the University of Memphis. Like, that would get some buzz. That would get some real buzz nationally. Yeah. So,
I'm out of the business of telling other people how to feel or act for the most part. I mean, I'm sure I'll slip up every once in a while. I'm just smart enough at this age to know if there's a Memphis fan out there who just hates John Calipari, I'm not going to talk him into not hating John Calipari. If there's a Memphis fan who wants to buy a ticket and go inside FedEx Forum and boo John Calipari, I'm not going to be able to talk him out of that. So I don't even try anymore. Yeah. I'm just saying the way I would feel.
Yeah.
The way I would handle. And, you could say whatever you want to say, but like I grew up caring about this stuff just as much as you did, whoever you are. I went to school there. I bought tickets to go to things there. I care about that. And I do not look at John Calipari as a traitor or any of that stuff. I look at John Calipari as somebody who did more or less what most of us try to do with our careers, which is you take the best job you can get when you get it, you work it as hard as you can work it, you love it while you're doing it. And if you're fortunate enough to be good at that job, maybe you can get a better job, and then you take advantage of that better job and you go do it as well as you can do it for as long as you can. That's my career. That is how my entire career has unfolded. I take the best job I can get. I work as hard at it as I can, and I hope bigger, better things open up. And if they do, I consider them, and sometimes I take advantage of them. That's my entire career. How different is that than what John Calipari did? While he was here, he was awesome. While he was here, he worked incredibly hard. While he was here, he did incredibly important things and made that basketball program as good as anybody has ever made it, period. And I think that should be more appreciated, but I understand that there are Memphians who feel differently very strongly. So that's fine. Either way, it would be a neat moment if he does bring the Razorbacks into downtown Memphis to coach against the Tigers, even if it is an exhibition.
That was cool news yesterday.
It'll raise real money for St. Jude, and it'll be a cool moment for, I think, both basketball programs and the city, broadly speaking. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I hope it happens.
Number 3.
Adam Schefter reporting that the Friday night Week 1 game that's going to be played in Brazil, it's now been determined will stream exclusively on YouTube. And it will be the first time that an NFL game will be streamed exclusively online and free of charge on YouTube. We're making history on a Friday night.
Yeah, it appears that way. This is really cool. I mean, I'm frankly kind of surprised the league's doing it. Like, I am. I mean, they're in the money-making business, and they add revenue, all that stuff.
Like YouTube, do you realize
it's the biggest?
Not even close.
It's not even close. Like that, my kid wants to watch YouTube.
You have a better chance. In all seriousness, once upon a time, if you were on a hit show on NBC, you were a star. Mm-hmm. A hit show on CBS, you're a star. You're better off having a hit show on YouTube, whatever that looks like. Mm-hmm. My kids know the YouTube stars. They do not know who's coming on 7 o'clock on NBC.
Right.
Like where I grew up with, like The Cosby Show or Cheers. These things where all of these actors who were on TV every week, you knew all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They were, even as a kid, you knew all of them. My kids don't know any of them people anymore, unless they happen to see them on YouTube.
Yeah. I wonder if it's...
Does Noah know a television star? Somebody who's on a weekly television show and your son knows who that is? Because contrast, whatever your answer is, contrast
I think he knows
it,
like some of the Disney Channel stars, but not really, no.
Like, but when I was a kid, if you were on a hit television show, everybody in America knew who you were.
Right.
And now that's just not, now I don't even know what hit television shows look like.
I don't either.
They certainly can't resonate the way they used to. There's too much out there. There's too much to watch.
That's right. You didn't have the options back then.
There's like just too much stuff on. Like now the closest thing we get, I think, to like a hit show is going to be something that drops on Netflix or something that is on Sunday night HBO.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But we're not like the like Thursday night NBC show, whatever that is. Like, do those even?
No.
Like,
I don't
what
think
is the big?
I know. I
What
was
is
just
the
trying to
biggest
think.
sitcom on network television right now?
It's probably one of those CBS shows. Those do huge, right? Those 30-minute like CBS comedy shows.
That's just a formula. They know exactly what to
Right.
make and exactly who
But I
will
bet
watch
those
it.
are the most watched. I mean, it is America's most watched network.
It's
Right?
Network of Stars.
Yeah.
It's America's most watched
I
network.
would bet. I'd be
network.
willing to bet like something like that.
Yeah. So, like, my point is, on one hand, you might go, taking the NFL to YouTube, do you lose something? You gain something.
Mm-hmm.
Every kid in America is on YouTube.
Do you think it's going to be the most watched thing ever on YouTube? It might be the most watched live event ever on YouTube because it's international. It's in Brazil.
I don't think it'll do better numbers than Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show.
Okay.
But it will. Every kid is on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. My kids are not looking at the television every day when they get home from school, but they are staring at YouTube. Like they go to bed watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Like kids don't even really, at least my kids, they are just as happy watching 45 4-minute videos in a row as they are watching an actual movie. Like that can hold their attention even better than an actual movie. Just YouTube. So suddenly you take this product and you're going to put it on every iPad in America, on the biggest app that every kid uses every day. I see the vision.
I think I see the vision too.
I think I see the vision. Congratulations to YouTube and congratulations to the NFL.
Number 5.
Hang on, we're on number 4.
Number 4.
Pete Rose is suddenly eligible for the Hall of Fame. How'd this happen?
I think he passed away, and there was a lot of. Right? I mean, this has to be a reaction to him passing away.
I think clearly him being dead is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the other part of it is? President Trump put real pressure on Major League Baseball to do
that's
something
right.
about this.
You know what? That's right. He talked about it. That's true.
And reportedly had a meeting with the commissioner where he was like, this is crazy that Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame. And less than a month later,
he's in.
Not in, but the commissioner has removed him from the permanent banned list, which means
he'll be in the next induction, right?
It's unclear, honestly. The way it will work is there will be a panel of 16 people in December of 2027. That's the next time he would be up for voting.
Gotcha.
It appears it would be December 2027. There will be a 16-person panel, and 12 people have to say yes. 75% have to approve it. That's how he would get into the Hall of Fame. And it is not clear that they would vote for him. For some context, this panel, the people on it change.
Okay.
It's not just like a lifelong appointment. The 16-person panel we have in 2027 is going to be different than the one we had last time or the time before or the time before.
Gotcha.
But Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds have been on this ballot before. Same type of thing where they need 12 of the 16 votes. I think they got 4. God. Yeah. So it's a weird thing because baseball people
it doesn't happen. Yeah.
take this very seriously in a way that I find confusing. So to answer your question directly, it is unclear if Pete Rose will actually ever get into Cooperstown, but he is now eligible. He at least has a path to Cooperstown. And I was a little surprised at some of the reaction. What would your reaction be? All right, Bennett, Pete Rose is now eligible for the Hall of Fame. Go.
Great.
Yeah. Maybe not everybody should say great, because I know people, but there are baseball people I respect, Joe Sheehan among them, who are like adamantly against this. Joe called it a pathetic day.
Wow.
For Major League Baseball. And I don't want to speak for Joe, but among his points is Pete Rose did something you're not allowed to do, that he knew he was not allowed to do, and it is the cardinal sin of baseball. Now, I don't even know if it really is the cardinal sin of baseball, but that's what they say.
Gotcha.
You don't gamble on the game. That's been true forever. People have tried it before, been banned before. Pete Rose knew what he was doing. He got caught. He lied about it. Finally came clean, but didn't even really come all the way clean. And there's a price to pay when you disrespect the sport in that way. And the price is a permanent ban. And if you now allow that to be anything less than permanent, you are removing the deterrent for future players to gamble on sports, because up until yesterday, they knew you get caught doing this, there ain't no path back for you. They wouldn't even let Pete Rose become Hall of Fame eligible. But now you send a message to everybody. Well, maybe you can become eligible even after you get caught gambling, because look at Pete Rose. How you feel about that?
I just don't. It's so different now, and these guys are under a microscope when it comes to the gambling thing. Like, I just don't. I don't think that by doing this, it makes guys more likely to gamble on the game.
Neither do I. And this is where,
because look at, like, I mean, what was the one? Michael Porter Jr.'s brother, Jonte Porter.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, dude. Like, they caught him doing some stuff that it's wild they were even able to catch the guy. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
here's the thing for me. Like, I get whole you set precedents and blah, blah, blah. But what would be the precedent? Like, if I were talking to Joe right now, because he was real concerned about the precedent you set here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what precedent is actually getting set? Is this the precedent? If you get caught gambling on baseball, you will be removed from MLB for the rest of your life. But when you die, we might reconsider and allow you to be placed into Cooperstown. But it won't happen until after you're dead. Is that the precedent? Because that seems like still a pretty strong punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but you don't get to have the moment.
You don't
right.
That's all Pete Rose ever cared. He's
right.
dead. So, like, okay. What? So I just didn't understand how you could think this is, quote, pathetic. Because here's the thing. Most Americans believe Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame, period. It's just like...
Yeah, it's hard to tell the story of baseball without him.
All the polling, most Americans believe Barry Bonds belongs in there, Roger Clemens belongs in there, Pete Rose belongs in there. They were all flawed characters. Their full stories need to be told with context. We don't have to lie about what they did and how they did it. But they are quite literally some of the best and most important baseball players of all time. Quite literally some of the best and most important professional athletes in this country of all time. And it seems crazy to have a museum dedicated to the sport of baseball that doesn't include them in it. That's how most Americans feel. That's how I feel. I don't understand how you could be so bothered by what this reversal, what type of precedent it would set, when the precedent is literally still resulting in Pete Rose never got to go to Cooperstown and be inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is all he wanted. He talked about it forever. It's all he wanted. And you still did take that from him forever. He died never getting to experience that. That is still such an insane and severe punishment that I don't think undoing it, or even possibly undoing it after his death, changes any of the realities.
Yeah, I don't either.
It doesn't really change anything. And it's just sort of, I'm not condoning what Pete Rose did, but in that documentary that was on HBO last year or the year before, I thought he made some good points. We now often talk about gambling as an addiction. Mm-hmm. We probably both know people who have gambling addictions. So if you throw it in a basket with other addictions, I think you start to view it a little differently. As Pete Rose pointed out, if he'd had a cocaine addiction, people would have felt sorry for him. And if he would have tried to get help the way he tried to get help for his gambling addiction, people would have encouraged him. And if he'd ever come through the other side of it, it would have been a wonderful story that was celebrated. And yet, because he had a gambling addiction, he was just sort of labeled for life. If it was a drinking addiction, alcoholism, we would have been a little more understanding of that, empathetic perhaps. Well, how different is this? What he did is a byproduct of what most people can call an addiction. So he literally got a life sentence for an addiction. Does that feel like proper punishment? It never did to me. I mean, he did lose his reputation. He lost his job. He lost millions of dollars. He lost a lot. I just, whatever the price that he needed to pay, I felt like he paid it.
I think so too.
I felt like he paid it well before his death. And I always thought it would be unfortunate if he ever died before getting to experience that moment. And then on the day that he died, that is the first thought that I had. So none of this will make it better for him, but it could make it better for his family, for his son, for Cincinnati, for people who cared about him, because he is still the most revered professional athlete up until his death who could walk around Cincinnati. He could still walk around that city, and you go to Reds games and there was more Pete Rose jerseys in the stands in 2024 than Ellie De La Cruz jerseys. He's still a real star there. He still mattered there. They did not look at him as the devil as much as they looked at him as their flawed favorite son. And so maybe you could give that city and all the people who cared about him a nice moment by having him inducted into the Hall of Fame finally, but you'll never be able to do that for him. Like, you missed that. And I never liked that, but I would, better late than never. Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame. I hope he gets inducted in 2027, and the people who are really bothered by it and insulted by it, with all due respect, I don't understand how you could care that much about something that doesn't have much to do with you in the grand scheme of things.
Number 5.
It's the end of an era. It's the end of an era this weekend. And I believe we knew this was coming, but John Bifus had a news story on it this morning at commercialappeal.com, the great John Bifus. And it's May 18th. It's this weekend. You see that?
I did.
You'll never be able to see it again. Summer Drive-In is closing.
Yeah, this is super disappointing. I caught wind of this this past weekend that there is about to be announced that they had sold it and that it was going to close down. I think it's kind of lame that just first off that you kind of made it seem like it was going to be open all summer for people to enjoy it one last time with their families, and now you're just abruptly closing it. Whatever. They say that Malco says it's closing because they can't. It wasn't sustainable anymore to operate. It wasn't sustainable anymore to operate because you let it go to crap for years. That's why it wasn't sustainable to operate.
As someone who cares about the city, because we joke around a lot and whatever, is it concerning to you that we are losing? Like, it feels like every week it's something that we grew up with is just like shutting its doors forever.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
like it's Oak Court Mall, it's the drive-in, it's something as simple as, I guess it was like TJ Mulligan's just closed, and they say it's because of crime.
Yeah, it is concerning. The mall thing, and I was bummed about that too. Right. That's more of, I think malls are just dying. That's where I kind of indoor malls appear to be dying.
I would just like to read a story. Yeah. I would like to read a story that says, look at this new awesome thing that's coming to Memphis, as opposed to, hey, this thing that we've had here forever is no longer going to be here.
I've been going to the drive-in my whole life. It's an institution. It's one of the cool spots in Memphis. It's disappointing that it's closing. And I wish that they could have found a way to keep it open. That's fine. That being said, like, I know some people that work for Malco, great people. I probably spend more money at Malco theaters than most people in this city. I go to the movies all the time. I love going to the movies. have a little issue. This is probably separate from the drive-in, but again, they say it wasn't sustainable. I mean, I've been there recently. Yeah, I can tell it wasn't sustainable. Like, it looked like crap. It looks like there hadn't been any work put into it in decades.
Okay, so the drive-in we all used to go to, it became crap. The Mud Island we used to go to, don't do that no more. The mall we used to go to, it ain't there no more, and it hasn't been replaced by anything. Just when do we add stuff? I want to add things.
Well, and that's the thing.
We're losing stuff, but we're not adding stuff.
And that's the thing. Like, Malco's got
add something.
Malco's got the market cornered. Like, they're the only theaters chain in town. Okay, we don't have any other. We don't have any of the national chains. Like, it's all Malco theaters here in the Mid-South for the most part. We just opened a brand new theater downtown not that long ago. Within the past couple years, right? I went to it recently. Seat handles falling off. There's popcorn all over the floor. Nobody's cleaning it. It looks disgusting when you're walking up the carpet to get to your theater. We got one IMAX screen in town. Again, the seats are all deteriorating, falling apart. It's dirty. And I wrote them an email not too long ago. I did because I think the movie going experience is an American pastime, man. People love going to the movies. It got some auto generated response that didn't address anything that I'd said. I don't think there's a lot of accountability because they're the only show in town. I think they need to take better care of their theaters. That's where I stand on it.
Bennett thinks this is a Malco problem as much as it's a Memphis problem.
I'm just saying.
I'm just tired of losing things. I want to read a good story about something we got.
I do too.
I want to read a story. I want to wake up tomorrow and I want to read a story. I want to go to commercialappeal.com and I want to read a story about something new that's coming to Memphis that's awesome. Tired of reading the stories about stuff that we're losing. I want to gain something.
I do too.
I like to gain something.
Yeah. I mean, again, I hope it gets replaced. I think they said in the story that they think it's going to get replaced by something that's great for the community. Great. I hope that's true. But yeah, it sucks. Like that. I've been going there my whole life. Like the drive-in was a cool part of Memphis. Now we don't have one anymore.
Where are you supposed to make out at now?
Exactly.
Where are you supposed to make out at now?
I know. Yeah, I just had to get that off my chest.
Well, I'm glad you did. You might want to shoot off another email.
Well,
need to shoot off another email.
I think we need to take better care of the good things that we have.
Ben, I think that's good advice for everybody. I think that's good advice for everybody.
Yeah.
Be back with GP's Carryout.
We talked a little bit about Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells, man, he finished third in the balloting for NBA Rookie of the Year. He's going to be back. He's going to play in Summer League, and maybe he'll shoot some left-handed jumpers out there. Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
That's no shot.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
This week, we're going to run down the hits and the misses from WrestleMania 41.
The main event, NXT title on the line, Obafemi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans. One of the greatest triple threat matches I've ever seen in my life.
I'm shocked.
And it made history because it's the first time there's 3 black men highlighting a NXT pay-per-view.
Okay.
That was dope too.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
How about Mr. Irrelevant coming from the Memphis Tigers? Yeah, how about that? New England Patriots
Second
took
time.
Memphis defensive back Kobe Minor with the 257th overall pick.
If you're the player getting drafted at that spot, it's almost better to go undrafted and pick a place as an undrafted free agent to sign with where you have a better chance
But
of
you get a
sticking.
lot of stuff. You get a parade. I think
do?
you go to Disneyland, I believe.
Mr. Irrelevant goes to Disney?
I think so.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by OrthoSal. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focused on the NBA playoffs, which took some interesting turns last night. The Pacers eliminated Cleveland after being down by 19 points. So Tyrese Halliburton back in the Eastern Conference Finals, probably waiting on the New York Knicks, who will try to eliminate the Boston Celtics. Sans Jason Tatum tonight in Boston. The Celtics are favored, but the Knicks do have a closeout opportunity, and if they don't win tonight, they can still win Game 6. If they don't win tonight or Game 6, they can still win Game 7. So we're probably headed for Knicks and Pacers. And then on the other side, it is looking like it will be Oklahoma City and Minnesota. Timberwolves with a closeout opportunity against what is believed to be a Warriors team operating once again without Steph Curry. And of course, Oklahoma City comes from behind in the fourth quarter last night to take a 3-2 lead over Denver by winning a pivotal Game 5. So all of this happens after we get confirmation that Jason Tatum did rupture his Achilles and had surgery yesterday. Done for the season, probably done for much of next season, if not all of next season. It's a big day, not just in the NBA, but a big day that could shape the NBA for, I don't think this is hyperbole, years to come.
What's today's biggest game?
You know what, Bennett? I'm taking you to Boston.
Okay.
We're gonna see how much you believe in the Jaylen Brown-led Boston Celtics. Knicks Celtics, 6 o'clock tip, TD Garden. Boston's 4.5-point favorite.
Man.
Total's 207.5. How you gonna act?
This feels like another going with my heart instead of my brain here. Because it's screaming to take the Knicks. It's screaming to take the Knicks. Like, Boston just lost Jason Tatum. They're 4.5-point favorites. This series is over. Why would you take the Celtics here?
Do you believe in the Celtics' heart? Do you believe in Celtic pride? Do you believe in Celtic pride?
No, I'll take the Knicks.
You don't believe in Celtic pride?
I know. It feels like I just want them to win the series.
Sounds like you don't believe in championship DNA. You don't believe in a next man up mentality. It sounds like you don't subscribe to a next man up mentality that Joe Mazzulla will try to implement tonight. You want the Knicks.
I want the Knicks too. I want the Knicks. I'm going to go Knicks. I'm going to go Knicks.
A, because I'm rooting for New York, the city. B, because I don't want to watch the Celtics without Jason Tatum in the NBA in the Eastern Conference Finals.
That would suck.
It's just like Tyrese Halliburton against the Tatumless Celtics.
Yeah,
give me the Nova Knicks. I want the Knicks to win the series.
Yep.
And I would prefer for them to end it tonight, because if you don't end it tonight, then you think you can end it on Game 6 at home. But if they go out and go 25 or 50 from 3 on you, now you're back in Boston for a Game 7.
Plus, you got the Pacers waiting on you, resting.
Just get this done.
Get it done.
Get it done. I'm with you.
Yeah, Knicks.
We're taking the Knicks plus the 4.5 tonight.
What are we watching on TV?
TMZ has a special tonight in prime time on Fox. What happened to Justin Bieber? Question mark. What do you think happened to Justin Bieber?
I thought he was doing okay.
Oh, he doesn't seem to be doing okay.
He's not
lately.
doing okay.
He seems high a lot.
Don't we all? I mean,
in fairness to Justin Bieber, okay, because he does seem high a lot, but he also doesn't work.
He's not touring.
He doesn't, literally doesn't work and has millions of dollars. tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Why wouldn't you be high all day? What else you got to do?
Right. That's probably not a good way to live.
I mean, I agree. You should probably like go play golf or something.
Yeah, do
but
something.
Like,
yeah.
I am understanding of how you could reach a point where if you have no responsibilities and all the money in the world, I can understand how you could just be like, I think I'm just gonna get high today. I think I ain't really got nothing to do today. I'm gonna have a good time. And then you look up and you've been doing it for 6 straight months. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he gets out of whatever he's going through.
Do you blame Diddy?
No. I feel like we would have. I don't know. I feel like we would have found out something by now.
You following the Diddy trial?
I'm following online a little bit. I saw he did. I saw he did the heart sign to who is it? What's the girl's name that's on?
Cassie?
Yeah, I think he did the heart sign to her.
He couldn't have possibly done the heart sign to Cassie.
Somebody posted a picture because they do the
sketches.
The sketches, yeah.
I did see a sketch of gray bearded Diddy.
Was that fake?
Well, no, I think he probably did do it, but his family's there. I thought it must have been directed at his family.
Oh, because he was facing forward in his seat, so I figured you're facing the.
I think he's probably doing that to his family.
The person on the stand.
What I read was he didn't make much eye contact with Cassie.
Okay.
As she was detailing.
It hadn't gotten. Yeah, there's been some stuff.
There's some stuff. There's some stuff. Man, there's some stuff.
There's been some stuff that I've whoa.
I went whoa about 7 or 8 times yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
I need to dive in a little bit more.
Oh, I went whoa about 7 or 8 times. I went, oh, buddy.
Okay.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That Diddy's a wild fella.
Care to share?
I don't think we can.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If I thought we could talk about this without Darnell getting up my ass.
Yeah, you better be careful.
I'd have put it number 1 and 5 more things.
Yeah, you better be careful. You're going to have to do a edited version of the Diddy trial at some point.
Diddy's a wild dude.
It appears he is a wild character.
He's a wild fella.
It does get the rich and famous, some of these people, it just affects them differently.
I guess so, man.
Yeah.
I guess so.
You just get these thoughts in your head of what you could get away with, and you take it somewhere that it should never go.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how it happens.
Yeah.
I can't speak to how it happens. I just know that it apparently does happen somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to know what happened to Justin Bieber, TMZ will break it down for you tonight.
Okay.
Check your local listings.
What's the best thing we've read?
Okay, it's definitely not the best thing I've read, but it is truly it might be the worst thing I've read. Can I tell you about the worst thing I read?
Yes.
You heard the story about Jeremy Koch, Billy Koch, couple from Nebraska?
Yes. I think so. I think I know what you're talking about here.
All right.
Oh, yeah. I did hear about this. This is bad.
This is the worst story I've ever heard.
I know.
Okay. So this woman last week, her name's Bailey. She's a married mother of 2. She has 2 husband, 42-year-old husband. Mm-hmm. She has 2 sons, 18-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And she posted GoFundMe last week. All right? And it literally starts like this. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so here we are making you aware. And she goes on to explain how she's just started to begin a GoFundMe in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, the month of May. And then she further explains, but I'm not just raising money for mental health awareness. I'm literally raising money for my husband, Jeremy. You guys know Jeremy. He's struggling. He's the best husband. He's the best father. But he's been struggling for a long time with his mental health. And she goes on to detail, this is a man who loves his family and is trying so hard to be what he wants to be, but he's struggling. It's real deep, intense depression. Can't get out of bed some days. Doesn't eat, doesn't drink, has had to be admitted to the hospital for stuff as simple as dehydration because he won't take care of himself. Can't get out of bed some days. Has tried to kill himself multiple times. Take his own life. He is, in his good moments, aware enough to know that we're not better off without you. that this world is not better off without you, but in his dark moments, he gets to a place where he genuinely believes the world would be better off without him. And he would be doing everybody a favor if he left this world. And this is what we've been dealing with for years. We've never let any of you guys know about it other than the people who just know about it. But I'm tired of hiding. And more than that, I'm desperate. She said, I'm desperate. They had a small family business. She was like a substitute teacher. You know, these weren't people who were overwhelmed with money. And she said, we have run through his entire retirement. We have run through my entire retirement. Because of his deep depression, he has been unable to work consistently. We broke. And, you know, we'd figure out where to live and how to drive and all that stuff. But like, when I mean we're broke, I mean we no longer have a way to treat my husband. Insurance has denied these claims. We've tried every kind of treatment. Keep in mind, this is not a man who's telling you, I don't need therapy, I don't need treatment, I don't need to be in the hospital. Like, that's Kanye West. This man is saying, I need help. And they're trying everything. But now they've reached the point where they don't have money and insurance is declining everything. And she quite literally in this GoFundMe is just like, I'm not too embarrassed to tell you I need your help. I don't know what to do. And I never expected to be starting a GoFundMe to raise money for my husband to get help. But I feel like if I don't do this, I'm going to lose my husband and my sons are going to lose their father. He's going to take his own life if we don't get him help. So I'm asking for your help. That was the GoFundMe. Do you know what happened next?
I do know what happened next.
He killed his whole family and himself.
Jeez.
She posted this last week, and it was in hopes of getting him well enough to attend their oldest son's graduation on Saturday. And he woke up on Saturday morning and killed his sons, both of them, and his wife and himself.
Jeez, man.
Is that the worst thing you've ever heard in your life?
One of the worst stories. I know when I've read that, I was like, good God. Yeah. It's
and
bad.
What's so sad about it is that, I mean, everything about it's sad, but like, this is not some man who fought help. He wanted the help. And they got to a point where they couldn't get it anymore. Didn't have the money to buy it, didn't have the insurance to clear it, didn't have the resources, didn't have the path to help. He wanted help. This is not one where everybody was ignoring warning signs. He wanted help. His loved ones knew he needed it. He was willing to accept it, but they couldn't get it anymore. And it resulted in a murder-suicide. I don't know what the point is other than to tell you we live in a messed up place where something like that can't happen.
For sure.
It's one thing when somebody doesn't get the help they need or the people around them aren't even trying to help them. But this is a family that was begging to be helped. And it didn't happen. Just sad stuff. Anyway, I don't know what to say. Let's just move on.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Hopefully happier stuff than that nonsense.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was rough.
Tomorrow's Thursday. Mike Wallace will be in studio with me. We'll look back at the NBA playoffs, look ahead to the NBA playoffs. I'll find a happy story.
Good.
I'm going to find a story about something opening in Memphis as opposed to something closing in Memphis. And I'm going to find a story about a family flourishing as opposed to that.
Good.
And we'll leave here happier. We'll be here. We'll be happy tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll enjoy mine. What a weird way to end the show. Be back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good, rep your hood.